my delights, it's your girl, Delightful Debbie, and today I have a tutorial for y'all. Now, I know it's been like forever and ever since I uploaded a tutorial, but yes, the tutorial for today is going to be this beautiful wrap top. And I know I've done a wrap top video on my channel before, but I just wanted to give you guys an updated version, something, more, just so that you guys understand the memo. So this is going to be part one of a two-piece set outfit. So this is the fabric that the customer chose, this beautiful, beautiful blue fabric. I have all my materials. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the tutorial. So my delights, the first thing that we're going to do is start by marking out our necklines. Now I have this piece of fabric here that'll be just enough to get our measurements. So I'm going to just be doing a normal 3x3 neckline, but we're doing the back neckline first. So 3 inches in and then 1.5 inches down. And we're doing the back piece first because this is a wrap top and the front is different. So we always mark out the back pattern first. So as you can see, I just marked out my neckline right there. Then I'm gonna take this is my client's measurements. I'm gonna take her shoulder measurement divided by 2 and go ahead and mark that on my fabric right now. So just take her shoulders. I already divided by 2. I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and mark it back into the neckline. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is marking our armhole. So you're going to take your bust measurement divided by 6 and add 1.5, and that's how you get your armhole depth. So I'm just going to take from the armhole and mark that straight line right there, and then from the shoulder slope down to the chest line, I will be marking that. So you're going to take your armhole measurement, you're going to divide that line in 2. Then you're going to come in by 1/2 inch. Then on the chest line, you're going to go ahead and mark your bust divided by 4. So now y'all are probably familiar with this because this is how we do a basic bodice pattern. So yes, mark it by 4, and then you're going to connect all of those points together to get your very nice and fitted armhole. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is mark the length of our top. So instead of marking to your waistline as usual, you're just going to add a few inches to how long you want your top to be. So for my client, the length of her top is going to be 20 inches. So I'm just going to take my tape roll from the shoulder. I'm going to mark down to the 20-inch point. And I'm going to mark that straight line. And then I'm just going to add about 1.5 inches for stitching allowance because, we're going to hem it and everything. So just go ahead and add that right there and mark out that point as well. So then we're going to come back to our chest line and add about 1.5 inches on the side. And then we're going to come down to our hemline or waistline and do our waist divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for stitching allowance. And you're just going to connect I'm just going to get my straight ruler and connect all of those points together to get my nice body measurements. So yes, as you can see right there, that is what we have with seam allowance and everything. So we're just going to go ahead and cut everything out. So now, my delights, we have our piece all cut out. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it. And you can see how nice and beautiful that and clean that is looking. So now I just brought another piece here that I'll be using to cut the front. And this piece has to be about like 22 inches bigger than your bodice piece because this is a wrap top. But I only did mine about like 16 inches bigger, but you can do yours about 22, 25, as much as you want. But I just did mine 16 because I still want to add to make the belt longer. So you're just going to cut everything as normal. You're going to cut the side as normal. You're going to cut the armhole as normal, and you're going to cut your shoulder slope as normal. I just placed my back piece on top of it right here. I'm just cutting everything out the exact same, but then we are going to be cutting the front neckline differently. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to get my tape, I'm going to get my chalk and mark where the back neckline starts. And from that top part, I'm going to mark down to the measurement of how open we want the chest of the front to be. So for my client, I just came down by 7 inches because she doesn't want her top to be too open but not too close. So the more lower you go, the more your all your cleavage will show. So yes, 7 inches is good enough for my client. Then from that point, you're just gonna use freehand and curve that all the way into the end. You can see that nice and clean curve that I made all the way to the end of the fabric, and it just keeps getting smaller as you're going because it's going to wrap around you. So that is how you are going to do that. Then you can do any like size that you want, but this is just what I did. I added more on the top here, and then you're just gonna go ahead and cut it out. I didn't want mine to be too small at the end because, as you know, I am still adding some length to the belt so that it can actually wrap around my client. So yes, that's what we have. Then you're gonna go ahead and cut it all out. So now that we have done that, my delights, this is what our front piece is looking like. Ooh, I forgot to cut that point right there. Let me just go ahead and cut it out. But yeah, this is what it's looking like, and that's how it's going to be. So next, I have brought this piece here for the sleeve. So this is, for this one, we're, instead of the original picture, we are going to be doing a short puff sleeve because that's what my client requested for. So I'm just going to mark her armhole divided by 2 right there. And then from there, I'm going to come down by 3 inches. And I'm going to mark the middle point there and also come down by 3 inches. And as usual, we're just going to make an S shape. And usually, y'all know that I come down by 4 inches. But because this is a puff sleeve, we are going to be pleating. So you don't want to come down by too much. So I just went up, you know, a little bit, probably like 2.5, so that it wouldn't be too much of a curve. And you're just gonna mark that right there. Yes, yes, yes. And I just remeasured it to make sure that it was the measurement that we needed, that I needed for my client. So then this is the length that she wants for a sleeve. Then I'm going to come down to the bicep area, and I'm just going to basically like mark her bicep and add a few inches for ease. And then I'm going to come down to like where the sleeve ends and that measurement around her arm. As you can see, the sleeve I have is she wants 12 inches, but I did 14 so that I can fold the ends up so that we have that we have that area to pull the elastic through, if you get what I mean. So I just went ahead to clip that right there. And like I said, on that point, I am going to go ahead and take the measurement there of around her arm. I'm just going to take the measurement of around her arm, and I'm going to add a bunch of inches to it so that the sleeve can puff the way it's supposed to. So yes, and I'm just going to mark that straight line, ignoring the bicep line, because we want it to be like very puffy, so we don't want it to be too fitted for her. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that all out. And forget the clips, guys. I just realized because of the way we're cutting it, it's not a straight sleeve. I'm not going to be using the clips, so that's why I ended up removing them. So my delights, bringing back our front and back pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and sew both of those on the shoulder. As you can see right here, just wanted to mark the wrong side because y'all know. So I'm just going to use my clips to join the pieces on the shoulder, and then we're just going to go ahead and stitch on that point and overlock it as well. So do the same thing to both of your shoulders. Just go ahead and clip them together to the front pieces. Make sure you're clipping it good side to good side, right side to right side, and go ahead and sew those points together. And then after we do that, you can just go ahead and hem all the way around the neckline of the top. But I will be using bias tape instead of just hemming it because that is what my client wants. So just use bias tape. So now that I've gone ahead to stitch that right there, you can see the bias tape that I put all around the neckline of the top, which is looking very nice and beautiful. So now that we have gotten that done, I'm just going to align it right there. You can see what I have here. So now I'm going to turn it to the other side, and we are going to go ahead and join the sides of our top together. So just go ahead and join the sides, but you're going to leave about 1.5 inches from the top to attach our sleeve. So go ahead and join the sides of the top together on both sides and leave 1.5 inches so that we have space to join the sleeve. So bringing the sleeve in, I've cut out both now. So first of all, we're going to make the puff sleeve, we're going to go ahead and hem this sleeve. So just make a casing for your elastic. I have that right here, which is about 3/4 of an inch, which will be just enough to fit my elastic. So go ahead and stitch that down on both of your sleeves. Now that we have done that, my delights, as you can see, the encasings look great. So I am going to bring my elastic here. So I have my elastic, and I'm just going to cut about how many inches will be good for my client around her arm. So you're just going to take the measurement around your arm, and then you are going to cut that, you're going to cut that amount of inches out of your elastic. So I just remeasured to make sure that my sleeve was the right length, which it definitely was. And now I'm going to cut out my elastic, as you can see me doing here. So now that I have my elastic all cut out, we are going to put it inside the sleeve. Now, y'all have seen me do this so many times on my channel, so y'all should be pros at this point. You're just going to go ahead and take a safety pin right here. We're going to put it into the elastic, and we are going to pull it all the way through the casing. Yes, just pulls it all the way through the casing, and then at the end you can clip it. But yeah, go ahead and do that to both of your sleeves. So we're going to just go ahead and sew on both ends right here, and you can see how beautiful our puff is looking. So as you can see me on this sewing machine. So I already joined the sleeve to our outfit. You can see that I just sewed all the way around, and it should be the perfect measurement for y'all right there. So just go ahead and sew around, and if it's too big, you can always make some pleats in it to give it a nice flared look. But yes, we have sewn the sleeves to our top. So this top is coming together so amazing. The next thing that we're going to do is I have these pieces that I cut to add to the length of the belt, and I just cut like about 20-30 inches to add to the length. So I'm just going to go ahead and add it so that we can make our belt of our top longer. As you can see right here, I'm going to just go ahead and do a French seam. Then after we do that, you're just going to go ahead and hem all the way around the bottom of your wrap top. That is the final step. Just hem all the way around, and my delights, we have done it. Our wrap top is finished, and these are the final results. Now, my delights, sorry I could not get pictures because, you know, the whole pickup process, but this is what it would end up looking like. This is another one that I have made, and this is exactly how it turned out. I love you, my delights. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe and follow for more. Please support your 15-year-old fashion designer. Bye, my delights. Love you.